Hey, Posy Gloves here. I'm wearing a hat, and today we're going to be looking at understanding BPM mode inside of S-Layer. It's quite a tricky thing to understand, in my opinion. So to set this up, go to one shot and just go to basic, then go to one shot. So we're on one shot mode, and then drop in a loop. Take note of whatever your root note is. In this case, it's 60 for me, and make your loop just cover the whole thing. Now, if we were to hit a note right now, it's going to play back the loop at a whole bunch of different speeds because it's going to pitch the sample according to the sample note it's picking. So let's go ahead and solo it and save our ears a little bit of trauma and go ahead and solo the top layer. And right now, if we pick, like, for example, right now it's at root note 43. So it's going to pitch our sample down if we play a note. So as you can see, let's also enter transpose mode and go ahead and hit C3. And to get the sample at its original playback rate, simply select the root note, which was 60. And what we've done now is we've just configured it. Oh, I'm hitting a note up. There we go. I was an octave off, but you get the idea. So now we've told it to play it back at the correct rate. We're hitting the note, it's grabbing it, and it's not stretching it in any weird way. It's just playing back the sample. So that's really great. Now, let's say that we want our sample to play at 152 beats per minute, because right now it's playing back at the rate I had it at. If I were to change this sample, the BPM, change the BPM, you notice that, oh, nothing's going on. Well, let's say that we want it to be responsive to this. Let's say we want to speed it up some. Well, what I can do is I can enter BPM mode. Now, if we play it, you see that it's now stretched to correctly fit the tempo. Now, they have some other options here for getting loops to play back at the correct tempo, but pitch shifting the loop. And it's a little confusing to understand. But what we're going to do is, you notice here by turning on BPM mode, if I try and mess with the pitch or start delay, it says, hey, you're in BPM mode. Like, it sends me a little warning saying you're in BPM mode. And so I can ignore this warning and undo the lock and move it. But you see, it messes with our timing. And so that's not a good thing. We obviously, if we're in BPM mode, we want it to play back at the correct tempo. But so what's going on is it's selected pitch shifting as its method of transposition. So it's moving to the new tempo and it's pitch shifting the things, but we can also tell it to use granular processing to shift the pitch. You might be going, what the heck are you talking about? Well, let's first take two notes. First, we know that pitch is locked because if we move the pitch around, it's going to be out of time. And the start has just been locked, or the offset, as I like to call it. That was locked because we wanted to start at the beginning. Otherwise, we're missing a chunk of time from our loop. And let's go over to the effects. Now we see here, if we had our granular engine active and we entered BPM mode, you see it would actually lock this engine as well. What we're going to do, and you can see right now it's doing its thing. But what we're going to do is, instead of using pitch shifting as its method for playing back at the correct tempo, we're going to tell it to use granular shifting. So we're going to turn on the grain mode for 1. And now what happens is we've now told it, hey, use granular shifting. You'll see now that we're able to adjust our, not our panning. I don't care about that. We're able to adjust our pitch control. If we had this off, if we turn that off and come over here, we had no dice. It would not let us touch it. But now suddenly we can touch it. That's because it's going to use the grains of the sample to repitch it. And you see that it's still BPM mode relevant. And you can get some really cool things by using this granular mode. Now, we do lose it if we use the stretching. This changes playback speed and stuff. So you don't want to do that. The playback rate of the grains. And same with selecting the grain engine size. But if we leave it alone and just turn on granular engine, we can use the pitch control to then shift that. So pretty cool. And again, if we turn it off, it will simply return and use pitch shifting to match the new tempo. And so that's just a really cool option. BPM mode is one of those things that's kind of confusing. I've been talking about it and making it sort of sound like, hey, if you hit notes at different notes, then it'll work. It will pitch shift it to that note. It's not the way it works. The way it works is you turn on granular engine and then you can move the pitch around and you can do it that way. Just some interesting deals with BPM mode. I hope this cleared up some stuff for you. If you're having trouble figuring out what this BPM mode was all about, subscribe and have a blessed day.